Welcome to the Spark Report. John W. Davis and Pavy. What's going on, Pav? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm chilling, man. I'm up. I'm here. We good.
We're good. I like that intro music. It's kind of
Yeah,
groovy. Like
intro music. Yeah.
you
Yeah,
kind of
it's chill.
a little bit, but not move too much. It is a Saturday morning, and we're
Saturday
definitely
morning.
on the LA Sparks. One game to go in the regular season. The Sparks are 12 and 19. They are currently in ninth place. They do not control their own destiny, but the Washington Mystics, if they lose, then the Sparks would technically control their own destiny in that final playoff, on that final game, that final.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that it's getting down to this. We talked to NECA and we talked to Sykes and we talked to Derek Fisher about this after the game. And, they all admitted that, they put themselves in this situation where they no longer control their own destiny. Because right out of the break, when they won those 3 games at home, they were in control of their playoff push when they went on the road and even won the first one against the Liberty. So they definitely were in control at that point. But then they just lost and lost and lost and lost and lost. And then when you lose to the Fever, a team you have to beat.
The way they lost to the Fever as well. I think they were up 6 with like
Right.
a minute 40 left. And
right.
Yeah.
But if they would have had that game right now, this would be over.
Yeah.
This would literally be over. Or they would be in control of their own destiny. It wouldn't be over. They would still be tied with the Mystics, essentially.
But they'd be in a better situation with them right
now. But if the Mystics win and then they win, they would get in. You see what I'm saying?
They would be in a much better situation than what they're in right now. But number one, first of all, I think we had to highlight the fact that they have to win. Like, I don't know what Dallas is on. Like, I don't know how much that game would mean to them.
Okay, let's break this down. First of all, the Mystics play the Lynx. The Sparks are so lucky that the Lynx are still playing for the 3rd seed because you know who can be petty? Cheryl Reeve.
Yeah.
She would literally lose a game to keep the Sparks out. I could see her doing that. Now, I haven't talked to her. I haven't asked her, but I could see her doing that. But they have to play and they want to win against the Mystics so they can get the 3 seed because you know why you want the 3 seed?
Home
game, but you want to avoid the Sun as long as possible in the playoffs. You don't want to match up with them in the semifinals.
Yeah, I feel you, but I hate that connotation because, like, I feel like if you're a playoff team and you think you're a good team and you trying to avoid people, you got the wrong mindset anyway.
Okay, then if that's the case,
I think
they might as well look. If that's the case, they might as well be petty and let the Mystics win.
I mean, no, because like you want to go and like in my personal opinion, if I'm a coach, I want to go into the playoffs on a high note. I don't want to go in there coming off a loss. I want to go on a high note, and also I want a home game. I want somebody to come in my gym in the Target Center. I think it's still called a Target Center in the Target Center and beat me. In my personal opinion,
well, they would have a home game if they were the 3rd seed or the 4th seed in the 2nd round of the playoffs. That wouldn't matter. So that's what I'm saying. Like if they wanted to be petty, they could just be like, "Hey, well, we'll just take this forward and we'll just see what we can do."
Also, and Washington, they've had a very, I don't want to say dysfunctional year. I want to say they've had a tough year. Tina was out with injury for a second. Deladon came back, then left out again. I hope her back is good. She came. So they've had a very, very tough year.
And most recently, you've heard what happened to the coach. The coach is out under COVID protocol. He's missing the last 2 games. Tebow, and we know that Tebow is a coach. Like Tebow can get it done. And now his son is kind of trying to do that. So, I mean, the Mystics have something to play for.
Yeah.
The Sparks have something to play for. So, like, the Mystics are not just going to roll over and just let this happen. The Mystics have the talent to play with and beat the Lynx because it's not like the Lynx are a perfect team. As you may know, Dantas is out for the rest of the season on the Lynx. That's a very important piece. Like you may think, oh, well, no, the best players on the team are Sylvia Fowles and Nafisa Collier. Yeah, but Dantas stretches the floor, and she's 6'4", and she's big, and she shoots threes
all the time.
Right. So, the Sparks are in a tough situation, but if any team can handle it, they can handle it. But you were saying you don't know what the Wings have to play for. So think about it like this. I can see it both ways. So if the Wings win, they would knock the Sparks out of the playoffs and into the lottery. So that would give the Wings organization at least a top 4 pick.
Yeah, they pick.
But if I'm the young players on the Wings, do you really want another lottery pick to compete with?
I don't think players.
You don't really need that.
I don't think players care about that at all, honestly, personally, in my opinion.
So you don't think Enrique and Satu Sabali and Marina and whoever else and Awak Kuyer and Charlie Collier, you think they really want another top 4 player on their team, another top 4 pick?
No. I'm saying I don't think players in general, if there's going to be a top, I don't think players in general think about draft picks or that a team could acquire. Because for one, that pick is taken away from somebody money and minutes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This they would be honest. That's what I'm saying. I feel like the Wings players would be better off not having another lottery pick on their roster. They got enough young players. Yeah, they just got to get it done with the players they have.
Yeah.
They don't need another rookie coming in there taking up time. So that's why I'm kind of saying, like, on one hand, they might not want another player. But on the other hand, who wants to go into the playoffs with a loss?
And also, you got to think about a player like Marina Mabry. If I'm her, like, I get they like what they traded me or cut me. Did they trade her or cut her?
They traded her for a pick.
Yeah, so if you trade me and you basically said you didn't want me, basically, we don't want you, and now I have a chance to keep this team, my old team, out of the playoffs, I'm coming out firing.
Yes,
I'm coming out firing. So, and again, the Sparks are a team this year who, for whatever, and not for whatever reason, obviously it's been a tough year. Like, they've dealt with so many injuries, but at the end of the day, they've just been inconsistent. Like, you're 12-19 for a reason, even with these injuries.
And they haven't beat the Wings once this season either.
Yes, and also even with these injuries, I've seen them lose games that they still shouldn't lose. Like that Fever game, you were up 6, I think, with 1:40 left against the Indiana Fever. You should not lose that game. Every Atlanta Dream outside of even like the last one has been extremely contested. Like, they have a potential to lose these games. So for the Sparks, they gotta win. Because it would be very Spark 2021 like for them to come out here knowing they got a shot at the playoffs and lose somehow. And then post game, everybody's sitting up there crying.
Yeah,
whatever.
Because you will literally know if you have a shot to make the playoffs.
And the other team gonna know too.
Yes, because the Mystics Lynx game is before your game.
Yes,
they will finish either right at tip off or maybe like sometime in the first quarter. You will know before that game really gets going. But we've seen the Sparks lose a game in the first 5 minutes.
1,000%.
Connecticut Sun. First 5 minutes, it was 17-0. That was the end of the game. That was basically the margin they lost the game by. They played them even after that. But at that point, what you going to do? You really going to beat the Connecticut Sun by 18 points to come back to beat them by 1? No, you're not. You know, shout out to the Sun. Yo, Alyssa Thomas is back, Pav.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how she's back that soon off of Achilles injury.
You know how she's back.
I don't know how she's back soon off. How much?
Look. What was she playing with?
Two torn labrums.
Okay, then the only reason
does she still have
to my knowledge, yes. The only reason she was out because it was a torn Achilles. Come on now, you know that. You know if it was any other injury, she would have been playing. Like, you literally cannot play on that because in the beginning, you literally cannot walk or literally cannot put anything on it. But once she could, you know she was going to play.
That's insane.
So shout out to her. She looks like she's coming off the bench. So this is what I want to ask you about. Chrissy Tolliver is out.
Mm-hmm.
What is your ideal starting 5 and why? Because I have one in mind. Let me hear yours. Because you know the 8-9 players you have. Chennai is out too, essentially. So you got 8 players. What's your ideal starting 5 against Dallas?
I mean, I think the lineup that they've been rolling with. I think in
which
theory,
one?
Taya, Erica, Brittany, Zowie B, and Nneka is the best 5. Because also, I need to commend Taya on like the way she's been playing. She has, to me, she's probably out of anybody on the team, like mid-season improvement, she's improved the most to me.
Personally. I would counter that. I think the best starting 5 is Erica Wheeler, Brittany Sykes, Nia Coffey, Nneka Ogwumike, and then Amanda Zahui B.
That's fair.
I like Nia on the wing, and I really like Sykes in the backcourt because I've been talking about that all season. Anytime I get a chance, I'm like, oh, I want to see a Christy Tolliver Sykes backcourt, like because I want to get Brittany in the backcourt instead of always on the wing because Nia Coffey becomes a big wing. Yeah. Brittany Sykes' length makes her a big guard. So then your team, you start to match up position by position and you start to have advantages that way. But when you have, Cooper and Wheeler and then Sykes, when it's working, it is perfect. But when it's not, it's Tiffany Hayes dropping a bunch of points on you in the first quarter against the Dream, being the only person on their team in double figures, I believe.
I mean, she was also just hitting some crazy shots as well.
She was.
She was also just.
She was, but who was the primary defender on her?
Brittany.
No, not at the beginning of the game.
Who was the primary defender?
Cooper.
In the game.
It was Cooper, and then they switched to Sykes because Sykes
switched to Sykes kind of early though. Like Sykes got on her about like midway through the second.
Yes, I know. And then after that, she was like 3 for 11.
Fair.
Percentages went down. And you can't tell me that Nia Coffey can't guard.
Oh, for sure she can guard.
Because she can guard, she can play defense. And Nia Coffey is a more efficient three-point shooter. What do they need? They need three-point shooting.
I just like the pressure that Taya has been putting on defenses.
I love it too, but I love it off the bench. Because Taya versus the bench, that's a mismatch. Taya versus starters, that's kind of even.
Yeah, but also I think she should play like 20 minutes. She should just
most definitely. Look, she has to play 20 minutes because they only got 8 players.
No, when I'm saying like even if she starts, I don't think she should be out there playing like 30 minutes a night. She should play 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
Like
then she definitely needs to come off the bench then because you're taking minutes away from Nia Coffey. Even that first 5, 6, 7 minutes. Yeah, Nia Coffey can play 30 minutes, man. We saw it.
She can, but like
she can be efficient and effective. And she practices those corner threes. That's working.
She can. I mean, yes. I think. First of all, I think most of them can play 30 to 35, even 40 minutes. Like number one. Mm-hmm. But I think that you probably only want maybe Brittany, Nneka playing that much. I don't think you want everybody else. Like they have enough players, especially rotational pieces that are guards and wings. They still have enough where you don't have to run anybody out there for 30 to 35 minutes. Like you can run people out there for 20. You can split it 20, 25. You can do that. Maybe Erica, if she's not in foul trouble, you want her out there more as well.
Okay. So
shout out Erica. She's been LeBron posted her today.
The ankle collector.
Yeah, facts.
You remember the bone collector from Man One?
Collector, the
ankle collector. Come on.
The soul snatcher. The soul snatcher.
I saw the spirit leave Sue Bird's body.
Yeah, the Sue crossover was crazy. The Odyssey Stems one
was
dope.
The first time Sue Bird looked 40 years old on a basketball court.
Like her feet got crossed up.
Yes,
like the Odyssey one was dope. She like tripped back. That was fire. But like the Sue Bird when she dropped, like fell out. Her feet got crossed up and she fell out. I'm like, wow, that's bad.
She dropped like Ricky.
Dropped, bro. Dropped. Her feet got crossed up. Ricky. There.
Just more chestnut. Just done.
Crazy.
That was crazy. And then she got Odyssey Sims with the backup. Same thing Taya Cooper got. I believe it was Stephanie Talbot.
Oh yeah, when she tripped and did the little stumble back.
Yeah, she got her too. It's like so. But the great thing about it, all three of them, both times Erica Wheeler has done in the last game, and Taya Cooper, they all made the shot. I don't care about that if you don't make the shot. It's not a highlight if you don't make the shot. It's just a footnote. It's a footnote. But to make the shot, that's perfect. So Erica Wheeler is cooking right now, and it's like they gotta know this is coming. I know you said like, look at the tape. This is how she crosses you over every single time. It's the same exact way. She pulls it out, and then she comes back in, and then she goes to work on you.
But she's been doing it literally the entire season. It's just like she got better. Like she's been getting people with the little right to left crossover the whole season. Now she's just getting better at it, and people are just dropping. I also don't know why people don't read the scouting report. Like, yo, you don't have to come up on her like that.
Nah, because she's not her.
She's
first,
not a great 3-point shooter.
Her first idea is not to shoot it.
So, like, why are you even coming up on her like that?
Especially when you see her game after game, she will literally pull it back to give herself more room to work and come downhill. But shout out to the Sparks player development coach,
yes,
Jamal Dash Lovell. Yes. You know, it's working.
It's working.
Also, shout out to the only rookie on the team, Arella Garantes, because I wrote a post and I said that, you know, she was out of the rotation, but she needed, and that was when Christy Tolliver and Janae were playing. But I said that she needed to be ready because her number could be called on at any time.
Yeah.
And what has she done? She has been ready to play. And yes, she hasn't been scoring a lot of points.
But she's more comfortable, though.
But she's been more comfortable. Yeah. She's been very competent on defense. Sure. And you know that if you put her in the game, she's not a liability.
Fact.
That is a successful rookie season. Because there were still rookies in this league that are unplayable. Arella Garantes is not unplayable now.
She is a WNBA player.
Yes. And she will only get better next year. What I want to see Arella do is play 5-on-5 team basketball as much as possible during the WNBA offseason. Hopefully she's got a setup where she can play somewhere overseas. Even if she doesn't, like, I want to see her play 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
That's how she's going to get better.
For sure.
Because I know she works on a lot of one-on-one. Again, I see her doing it with Dash. You see it in the game where she kind of ISOs, and it kind of goes back to what she talked about, how she played at Rutgers, how she had to, like, you know, already be thinking of the combo move because a lot of people would be, you know, swarming on her. But now she doesn't have that. She's not getting swarmed. So it's really just like, get the ball and go. Get the ball and go. Either you're going to shoot it right then or you're going to make the right pass. And so in a 5-on-5 situation and a 5-on-5 setup, if she's able to play that way month after month after month, Arella Garantes will come back a much better basketball player. The other thing about Arella is if you ever get to stand right next to her, she is a legit 5'11". And she is a legit, whatever her weight is, she's not a slight player. She's a strong 5'11" player. She has the physical tools needed to play in the WNBA. Now it's about having the confidence to go along. And Derek Fisher brought up a good point. And this is something we haven't really talked about lately. Arella Garantes played like 2 days of training camp. They essentially held a spot on the team for her. She had no training camp. Yeah. The only time she had a training camp was during the Olympic break.
Yeah.
So shout out to Arella, because even coming out at the Olympic break, Carly was still on the team and Arella was still at the end of the bench. So even out of the training camp, she was still at the end of the bench. So for her to come back, keep working, and start to get those minutes, and now we're having games where she plays 18 minutes, 20 minutes, and she's successful off the bench, that's a successful season. And I think that she probably has to have consideration to make the WNBA all-rookie team, first team. Like, at this point,
I don't.
You can't name 5 rookies that's better.
Yeah, but I don't think she's gonna make first team.
But you can't name 5 rookies that's played more and that's better, because this rookie class overall has been underwhelming. Fair. You've had Charlie Collier for Dallas play. That's the only one of their rookies that's played. You had 2 rookies on the Liberty play, Michaela and Dee Dee Richards, Ari McDonald on Atlanta. That's it. Across the league, those are only 4 rookies that's got consistent playing time. Those are only 4 that you can say are significantly better. You can say, oh, maybe Dejanay Carrington on Connecticut is better, but she hasn't played more minutes when you look at the totality of the season. And then after that, you're definitely not going to put Kaiser on there. On Indiana, she couldn't stay on the court.
Yeah, they didn't even. She took. I'm sorry. I hate to say
You
it like
can't
this.
put Jasmine Walker on there. She played a couple games. You can't
Yeah,
put
she played.
Stephanie Watts on there. She played a couple games, and now she's currently out of the league. You can't put Shyla Hill on there because she's out of the league. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody. There's nobody really else to put on the team other than Arella Garantes. So hopefully she gets that recognition.
But in just in
because
general,
she made it through a season. That's
yeah,
commendable.
but just in general, I want to commend really all of their guards. Like they have if you this year what it was, regardless, it is what it is. I think if you get to the playoffs, obviously it's a whole new lease on life. Anything can happen once you get there. But I think next year you have to be excited about what you have, especially in your backcourt. Like you have Erica, you have Taya, you have Arella. Chris was still there. Like you have people where if I'm opposing defenders, I got to get my rest the night before. Because I know I could be stuck on the island with any of these players and they can give me work.
Yeah. So speaking of next year, this is already people who have protected contracts. NECA, Christy Tolliver, Erica Wheeler, Amanda Zowie B, Chanae, and Gabby Williams. Those are 6 players that, barring something crazy happening, are guaranteed contracts on your team. A de facto 7th is Brittany Sykes. We know that Brittany Sykes is going to be on this team. That's already 7. You assume that Taya Cooper and Arella Garantes is going to be on the team. That's 8, 9. Jasmine Walker, 10. So you are, if you want Nia Coffey back, that's 11. Like you might be bringing back 10 of 11 players on the team.
Yeah.
Even Lauren Cox will have a really good contract. That could just be your team right there.
Yeah.
And you could just be done with that. But if that was your team, if your team next year was Erica Wheeler, Christy Tolliver, Brittany Sykes, Nneka Ogwumike, Amanda Zowie B, Chanae Ogwumike, Nia Coffey, Jasmine Walker, Arella, Taya, Lauren Cox or Maria Vadiva, and Gabby Williams, how would you feel about that team?
It's a good basketball team.
Is that a playoff team?
Yes, but also I think this team was a playoff team barring injury. I think there's a lot of unfortunate things. Like I think they're better than their record, which is why
they're better than 12 and 19. Yes.
Which is why if they get to the playoffs, it's a new lease on life, in my personal opinion. You get in there, anything can happen. I don't think any team sees the Sparks and like, oh yeah, I want to play them. I don't think any team, granted,
because right now the matchup would be Phoenix Mercury. I think the Phoenix Mercury are locked into the 5 seed. So it would be if the Sparks get in there, it's an easy trip to travel to Phoenix. They don't have to fly across country. You can fly direct. You can be in Phoenix in an hour.
Facts. Yeah, so I don't think that's easy.
They played them all season. They know that team. There's no unfamiliarity there. They know what they have to do to beat Phoenix. They know they have to pressure those guards, and they know they have to frustrate Brittany Griner.
For sure.
That's the game plan against Phoenix.
And again, like I don't think I think the Liberty making that, or even the Mystics, is a better matchup for Phoenix than LA is. Like I said, I don't think anybody sees the Sparks like, oh yeah, we want to play them. That's an easy game. Like no, I think people know that they're better than their record. So if you go
Liberty are 2-8 in their last 10 games, so
exactly.
That's food in the first round.
Exactly. So if you go, so if you go into the season next year, like I think you got to feel good about this team. I think it's a playoff team. Also, it gives you another year under Fisher. People know what they like. The players know what they can expect from Fish, and Fish knows what he can expect for them.
I would say if this team was healthy, I think you could look at the indication of Christy Tolliver. The Sparks won. I think they were 1 game above 500 when Christy Tolliver played. If you put them right at that range, that would get them to right about that 6th seed with the Chicago Sky, which they technically would have the tiebreaker over because they beat them 3 times this season. So best case scenario for the Sparks this season, the way the records are shaking out, because the top 5 are just heads above the rest of the league. 5th place is 19 and 12, 600 winning percentage. So looking at the 6th seed, I could see that. But I could also see adding Gabby Williams, and if this team has perfect health and perfect success, I could see them being a top 4 team. Ni hao. Yes, I can speak Chinese. Ni hao. But yeah, I could see them being a top 4 team. But I could also see this team. And yes, I said that, you have all these protected contracts. You got NECA, Chrissy Tolliver, Erica Wheeler, Zowie B, Janae, Brittany Sykes. You probably want to bring back Nia Coffey. You got the young players, Walker, Arella, Taya, Maria Vadiva, Lauren Cox. Even Gabby Williams is like right in between like young and a veteran. I could see this team somehow, even still saying that like all these players are basically locked in. I could see them still making some moves somehow. There's still flexibility. You can still trade picks. You can trade players. You can do things to change this roster as well. That would be my other question for you, Pab. Would you try to change this roster, or would you just go with the fact that you have all of these players available? That's my question for anybody watching. Would you keep this roster? Because you basically got anybody you want under contract. You got NECA, Christy Tolliver, Erica Wheeler, Zowie B, Chanae, Brittany Sykes, under contract. Jasmine Walker, under contract. Arella Girantes, under contract. Taya Cooper, you hold her rights. Maria Vadiva, you hold her rights. Lauren Cox, you hold her rights. Gabby Williams, under contract. You can't just roll with this team. This team has showed that defense is their anchor. Defense is their identity. They've showed that they can be a top defensive team in this league. If you play defense every single game in the WNBA and you are healthy, you will at least win half of your games. So if we're going back to a 34-game season, they will at least be 17-17. At the very least. And honestly, you probably get some balls to bounce a certain way, and you'll probably be better than that. So I just feel like they have some flexibility, though. I feel like they can go with the team they have, but they have some good players in. Yes, they're under protected veteran contracts, but if you attach a pick to that, you can move some contracts. We've seen it done. We've seen the Minnesota Lynx move Odyssey Sims' contract. There's precedence for it. Yes, the Sparks technically don't have that first round pick in the 2022 draft. They traded it for Jasmine Walker. So next year, they won't necessarily be looking at bringing in rookies. If you want to say who's going to be the rookie on the team, it'll be the second-year player, Jasmine Walker, and honestly, maybe even Arella too, because beginning of the season, Arella was inconsistent with her minutes, inconsistent with her play. She's gotten better. Jasmine Walker, we saw flashes that Jasmine Walker could have been in this rotation the whole season during preseason. And yes, that was only 2 games. And yes, I like what I've seen of Cox this season with keeper. I can understand that because she's a big player. She's versatile. But what I want to see from Lauren Cox is I want to see her pull it from 3. I want all of my players. I don't care if you're the shortest player. I don't care if you're the tallest player. I want all of my players on the team to shoot threes. And I think we are at that point where everybody on this roster can shoot now. We know Vadiva can shoot. We know that Chanae is not willing to shoot threes. We know that Zowie B will pull it over and over.
I've been calling for that forever. I mean,
right.
I've been calling
and for that. So Lauren Cox is the last piece on the team to say, like, are you consistently going to be willing to shoot from 3? If you are, great. If you're not, we got to go with Vadiva if that works out and she can come over.
Just shoot the ball. Like again, like again, if you're wide open, like I even got not to completely compare, but I even gotten like lost in the YouTube hole. I pulled up a Dennis Rodman 3-point compilation with the Bulls. He shot like 33s like each year with the Bulls. He would make some, but it's like if you're wide open and there's no one around you, just shoot the ball. And also,
what happens in an open gym when you're wide open? You shoot the ball.
You shoot the ball.
If you're a professional player, you make it.
You shoot the ball. And also, like I said in the W, right? You usually want guards to shoot threes, but guards are like my height. My height 5'9", 5'10". I'm assuming they have a more probably not difficult time, but it's not as easy of a shot as I would assume it would be.
The shot is not pure.
Yes, exactly. Like they gotta hitch it to the side sometimes. If like look at John Corjones, she shoot the ball like that. I would assume even Amanda, she shoot the ball regular. I would assume as a bigger player, if you're 6'4", 6'3", 6'5", you have a better looking. You have a more pure jump shot than a guard would. Just all the fact that you're bigger, you're probably stronger and things like that. So yeah, I agree with you. Like everybody needs to shoot. And with Lauren Cox, she has impressed me at times this year. I don't know why the Fever let her go. Like she is a player to me. I
don't think we'll ever get the answer to that.
Yeah, like she's a player to me that I think has potential. Now I don't think she's gonna be some, like Lisa Leslie or something like that, but she has potential. She is a bona fide WNBA player to me, in my personal opinion. That was a great midseason acquisition by the Sparks, in my personal opinion.
It was, because you control her rights.
Yes.
Not only did you get her on the team, but you control her rights. That's the most important thing you can do, is control team-friendly contracts, because there is a salary cap in the league. You cannot go over it. Now, I've learned that there is some flexibility with the marketing money. So just because you look at somebody's salary, and this is something I learned, and I'm glad I learned, and Pabby, this is for you too, just because we look at the salaries and we see that a player is making a certain amount on the cap doesn't mean that's what she is compensated totally by the team.
Huh?
There's marketing money. Listen to what I'm saying. Just because a player is compensated at their rate on the cap, like when we first saw the salary cap, when we first saw what Brittany Sykes signed for, didn't we question it and say, oh, she probably could have got some more money from somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about her money. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So
basically you're saying like players get residuals or royalties from marketing, basically. It's like if you put in a commercial, that's fair. That's fair.
Yes, they can get marketing money now.
And I wonder if it's like that across all sports.
Well, this was new in the CBA. This was new in this latest CBA to be able to do that. Give me 1 second, Pav. I need to plug my computer up.
No problem. But I mean, that's incredible. One thing that I do want to say as we get to the close of this season, which has been a very interesting one for the Sparks. We may or may, I mean, we're gonna do another one, but the next one that we do, we may or may not still be watching Sparks basketball. I kind of want to recap and kind of grade the season. And in my personal opinion, I think this is a season of what ifs for the Sparks. Now, obviously, they could go into the playoffs and do what they do, and who knows? They may even make a semifinals run. Who knows? I have no idea. But as it stands right now, I think it's a season of what ifs for the Sparks, because, like me and John said earlier, I think that they are much better than their record. I don't think they're a 12-19 team, and I think that when you look at this team, you look at injuries, and I still don't know if they've had their actual roster on the court for more than like 2 games this season. Like Shanae's been pretty much out the whole year. Chrissy Tolliver has been in and out the whole year. Nneka obviously missed 4 to 6 weeks. Well, she missed, I think, about 4 games before the break. She came back after the break, but she missed about 4 games, I think, for the break. Everybody's been pretty much out on this roster at some point, outside of like Nia and Brittany. Like those have been like constants. I think Erica has played every game as well. But I just want to just recap and just talk about this season. Like I said,
there's a lot to talk about with this season. I think
it's a season of what ifs.
It is a season of what ifs, but it is the first season of Derek Fisher being the GM. It is the first season of them not going into the next draft with a draft pick because they traded it because they targeted somebody in his first draft. So, there's only
How would you grade Derek Fisher's first season? How would you grade Derek Fisher's first season as a general manager? Give me a letter grade.
Can I wait until they make the playoffs or not?
That's fair.
I want to
That's
wait.
fair. That's
Okay,
fair.
but okay. If they make the playoffs, I will give him a C. If they do
don't make
not,
the playoffs.
if they do not make the playoffs, I will give him a D. I will not pass him. I will not pass him. He will get a D or an incomplete.
See, I'll raise it up. I think if they make the playoffs, I'll give them a B. If they don't make the playoffs, I'll give them a C. The reason, or a C plus, and if they miss it, I'll give them a C minus. The reason is because there were so many injuries. Like, I can bring people to the team. I can't control if they get hurt. I physically,
but
like,
you can build in redundancies to your roster. You can know that there's a likelihood that certain people have injury history.
But the redundancies even got hurt.
Well, then you got to come up with something. Like, they have to know if Maria Vadiva is coming or not.
I agree.
They got to figure that out day one.
Agree.
They held a spot for it. It never worked out.
Sure.
They were never able to have a full roster because of that.
For sure.
That's a big knock because at some point they could have used another player.
They could have. That I will give you. That is very, very fair.
That's a big thing. And like, they were counting on her to play minutes when she came too. Like, all these minutes Lauren Cox is getting.
That's what be Maria.
Yeah. And so, yes, they made a nice counter. But, I also wonder, what could they have done to entice the Atlanta Dream to give up Kennedy Carter? Like, what could the Sparks have done there? So,
the situation is so weird too.
It is, but it's like, what could you have done there? Or what can you do in the future? Because the Dream are not saying a word about her.
Yeah, but I don't think that they need more guards.
It's not about guards. It's not about guards. It's talent. That's just pure talent right there.
Yes, but this is just me. I think they have all the talent that they need. Just the talent wasn't on the court.
Need to do what?
To
all the talent they need to. They don't have all the talent they need right now to win the championship. The goal is to win a championship.
No, I don't think they're.
Kennedy Carter has championship level talent.
No, I do not think they are. No, I do not think that they are a championship team as it stands currently. I do think that they are I don't know if it's called conference finals, semifinals team.
Yeah, they could be a top four.
Yes, I think they could be a top 4 team, and I think.
But that's with perfect health and perfect play and perfect synergy.
But listen,
nothing ever goes perfect.
It doesn't. But I think that in your first year of being a general manager, if you build a team that's the potential, now granted, potential, we have, like you said, you have to hit on potential. Things have to go straight. Usually things don't ever go like that. I think they had to, like, when we came in here before the season started and gave the record out, I think the record that we gave out was, I think it was 20-14, or it was 22-12 or something like that. And I think that was because we both looked at the roster and thought that this roster had potential. We thought it was a bona fide playoff team. We didn't foresee this many injuries. Like, we didn't foresee Chrissy Tolliver getting hit in the face and not playing for 2 weeks. We didn't foresee things like that happening. We didn't foresee
her. We didn't foresee her coming back and then hurting her finger.
We didn't foresee NECA being out for a knee sprain, coming back and still not looking 1,000% completely correct.
You're right.
So when I put all of that into account, the fact that they still have a chance to make the playoffs, if they make it, I'll give you a B, C plus. If they miss it, I'll give you a C minus, because I do think it is a season of what ifs.
Derek Fisher is hard on himself, though. I don't think Derek Fisher would give himself a B. I think he might not. I think he might give the players a B, or
there are for sure
A minus for effort.
No, we can get to Fish. There are for sure things, especially offensively. Like, I get what he's doing. I get the simplicity. I don't want to say simplicity, but I get the point of the offense. But I do think there are things that he can do to stop those stretches when you go. Like, for instance, I think they went a whole 4th quarter scoring 4 points against the Fever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You got to call something that's like, call a back door, get a layup, Call a play to get a layup.
What about this, Fabby? Like at that point, why don't you just like, if you know you're barely scoring, but you only need a few more points to win the game, why don't you just start shooting some threes?
Or just throw the ball to Necker. Call a post up. I don't know. That's all the other thing about. That's all the other thing about. Okay, like,
yo, this has been the thing. So they haven't been getting to the free throw line in the second half of the season.
You want to know why?
I've been telling you, run through somebody.
Exactly.
Make them call a foul.
Exactly. Like, yo, they be like, oh, Necker don't get to the foul. Because she's shooting threes and rarely going to the rim. How are you going to get a foul?
I love it.
I love it when she shoots. Like, no, listen, I think it's cool. I think it's great. But the way she's been playing this, but again, the way she's been playing this season doesn't really allude to her getting to the free throw line.
Right. Tell them it's no hard feelings. A rookie get in the game. Give them that WNBA. Welcome to the WNBA moment. Run through them. Make them call a foul.
Call a foul. Like the way she's been playing, she's been avoiding contact. And like I
play
get
like
it.
The Connecticut Sun. Yell and scream after every shot. That's what DeWanna Bonner does. Every single shot. Every single time. And what does she get? Foul calls. Fouls.
But she's also aggressive and she attacks directly at people and doesn't avoid contact.
She attacks, but she verbally yells like she's serving a ball like Serena Williams.
I mean, yeah, but she also doesn't, like I said, avoid contact.
No, she doesn't.
She does not.
Which is amazing at her build.
Yes, at her build. But
shout out to DeWanna Bonner. Yo, you are a great basketball player.
Shout out to DeWanna Bonner. But yeah, she doesn't. But she also doesn't avoid contact. That's my thing. Like, yes, Fish can definitely get better when it comes to just offensive sets. Because again, like you shouldn't have that much. Not granted, obviously, I don't think they out there like the Mystics 2 years ago when they won their championship. I don't think they have that level of offensive talent. But still, with the talent they have, you shouldn't go a whole quarter scoring 4 points. You got to figure something out. You got to call something.
One person can score more than 4 points.
4 points. Quarter. Something. But
one person just shooting over and over and over. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wish they would shoot more threes because threes are worth more than twos. Like, I feel like sometimes we make basketball harder than it has to be. Like, I want us to lean into the stats and the analytics and the fact that, like, a three-point shot is just a better shot than most two-pointers unless you know you're going to make this two-point shot. And the 2-point shots you're going to make are layups or in the paint. But when it's a mid-range shot, just shoot a three. Just like
long mid-range shots.
Just shoot a three. Like if it's free throw line, cool. But like a step in, no. Like we got to get away from that.
I agree. Like, I hate those.
Like that's a dead zone on the court. It's like no point of shooting from there. Like, yes, that point is still worth 2 points, but it's really not worth the same 2 points in efficiency as a layup. When your percentage for a mid-range and a three-pointer are basically the same, that means the three-point shot is worth so much more because you can make them with almost the same consistency. Shoot threes. If any Sparks are watching this, shoot threes, especially in that Dallas game, because Arike is not going to stop. Marina is going to be gunning for you.
Oh, she's going to be flagging.
Gold medal Leash is going to be playing hard. They got ball players. That they would love to put the Sparks out of the playoffs. Because LA is always LA, and it's always going to be LA.
Also for a young team like Dallas, I think that's a statement game. Like, it shows that you have some killer in you, some dog in you. Mm-hmm. It shows that, in my personal opinion,
they're going to need that when they play at Chicago.
They're going to need that, at least that level, that mentality. Mm-hmm. Like, we going to walk in here and we going to end somebody's season. So
because they're going to have to end Chicago's season if they want to make it to the second round. Like, Dallas is in the mindset of ending the next 3 teams they play, ending their season, ending the Sparks season, ending the Sky season, and then ending whoever they play in the second round of the playoff season. So it's all single elimination from now on for the next 3 games for any team. Same with the Sparks. This is single elimination to get in. The next round is single elimination. The next round is single elimination. You cannot breathe until the semifinals in the WNBA, which is a problem. Too many of the teams in the league make the playoffs. If I'm being completely honest with you.
Yes.
If I'm being completely honest with you.
It should be about 6 teams.
A team that
6
finishes 13 and
should
18
not be a playoff team.
or 13 and 19 or
Should
even
not be a
14 and
playoff
18
team.
should not be a
Should
playoff
not be
team.
a playoff
A
team.
team that finishes 13 and 19, which
Should
would be
not-
the Sparks.
Should not
Like,
be a playoff
honestly,
team.
no, that's not a playoff record. You get in the playoffs in this league because of it, but that's not a playoff record. I would rather see, right, this season, the top 6 teams are playoff teams.
If you have 12 teams in the league, only half of the league should make the playoffs. That's 6. Think in the NBA, you have what, 30? Is 30 it 30 teams?
30
so
teams.
16 make it?
Yeah.
That's
just
about basically little over half of the league. Like 18, that means you have to be, like we talked about last episode, you have to be terrible. Terrible to not make the playoffs in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Terrible. I'm with you. I don't think this many teams should make the playoffs. But again,
and now normally the 7th and 8th seeds are not this far
bad.
Both below, but it's because the Sun are so good. They've won 80% of their games. The Aces are so good. They've won 74% of their games. Like those are like all-time great seasons.
But also, I think that the Olympic break, I'm happy that we don't have to go through this again with the Olympic break. I think it threw off the rhythm of players. I think it
well, you know, there's World Championships next year, right?
In the middle of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it
players have to play for their national teams. They have national team duty, and they get precedence.
I just think it throws.
How you gonna turn down your team to help them qualify?
Yeah, obviously you can't.
Playing in the Olympics.
Obviously, no, you can't do that. But I just think it throws off rhythm. I think, especially for the players who aren't playing, you worry about conditioning. You know, like it's nothing like going out there and playing actual basketball.
There'll be no official break, but there will be players out next season.
Yeah, like okay, no official break is fine, but like when you take a month, I just think the month off threw off the season by a lot, and I also think that's why you get some of the records that you got.
But we had to take it off because,
of course,
what team dominated? Team USA. They dominated in the Olympics, and they brought a whole new fan base afterwards. Like, people are paying attention to this.
Of course, no.
Like,
I'm not.
I want to see the players in the league play over there.
No, my point is not that it didn't work. Yes, it worked. They won. It was great. My point is simply that I just think it threw off the rhythm personally. But rounding it out, because I personally got to get out of here.
Me too.
Can we let's name what's gonna happen? What is gonna happen? Right? Will the next show we do be a season recap, or will it be a playoff preview?
I'm going to go out on the limb and say it will be a playoff preview show. Sparks at Mercury on Thursday.
I agree with you. I think the Mystics probably missed their chance last night. I think they will probably lose again to the Lynx. I think it's just been that type of season for the Mystics. And I think that the Sparks will come out. I think that they got one game to win. I think they'll come out, jump on Dallas early, and get that victory and end up in the playoffs.
And you know who could deserve a nice draft pick with everything that's been going on with them? The Mystics. If they still have that pick, hopefully they didn't trade it away for Tina Charles. I think they traded all the last picks from last draft for Tina Charles. So they could use a lottery pick. They could use a young player in there, a team-friendly contract, because they got a lot of vets, a lot of great players who make money, which is great. I want everybody to get paid. I wish the salary cap was triple.
For sure.
But it's not right now. So that's a consideration you have to have. So, all right. Spark Report, John W. Davis, Pavy. Peace.
We'll see you.